All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is our third look at some of the boards that we get during a tech scout, right? Right before you can get some boards from the agency or from the director, whoever it is. These are the shots that we're going to have to look at. Can you make them any better? We have complete control as to how we can look inside these locations. They are looking for you to make the images look nice. And this is good because I haven't actually shot this job, right? If you are a Patreon supporter, you will have seen this video before I actually shoot the job. So you'll be able to tell in real time whether or not I'm doing what I'm saying I'm doing. If you're watching on YouTube, well, spoiler alert, by the time you see this, I will have shot the job. So maybe I just erase this video and act like it never happened if I do something completely different or if the plan bombs. But maybe I don't either. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, I have to preface this because different people will be watching this video each and every time. I'm not actually doing this except for your benefit, right? When I look at the boards for the very first time, number one, I'm going through all of the shots and like, okay, I need the wide shot. Where's the wide? Oh, this is the widest that we ever get. Okay, this is like a medium shot, and that's the widest that we ever get for this scene. That's a huge win. Why is it a huge win? Because we don't have to see the whole room. If we don't have to see the whole room, we can be a lot more controlled with our lighting, and we can really pick the best possible background because we don't have to situate it inside of the room or situate it to the light source. There's just way more things that we control. So automatically I'm looking, scrolling. Is there a wide? Yep, this is it. This is as wide as we come. This is the orientation of these two people to each other. Okay, next thing I need to do, what is the blocking in the scene? Because the blocking will dictate what the lighting is going to look like. My future path in my head as to what are some of the looks that I can get with the scene, they start with, how are the characters oriented to themselves, to one another, and the camera, okay? Let's pause, because I've done this on the last few videos. Let's pause. What kind of scene is this, right? Let's look at this scene that we're looking at today. If you were going to take a guess, we have two individuals. That's a clue. They are looking which direction? Are they looking in the same direction? Or are they looking in opposite directions? Please don't screw this up. Good. Okay. They're looking at each other. Okay. If you have two people looking at each other, this is the office scene. Okay. Now you already know, if we're doing an office scene, what side of the line do you want to be on with the camera? You want to be on the dark side of the line, which means the light has to come from the other side. So just by looking at the board, right? Let's draw a line between these two. I know that I'm going to light this from the other side of this frame. So I need to find a spot in the location when we actually go and see it. I need to find a spot where I can fake, the best spot to fake and to fit a light in on the other side of the line. That's it. Do we care about the close-ups? Like Patrick, there's there's this shot, which is a close-up of him. There's this shot, which is a close-up of Dad. And there's a little bit more back and forth. Like, do we care about any of these? Nope. Nobody cares, right? Because you can do all this stuff on the day and it doesn't affect the actual approach. So just, you don't even think about it. Now, this little process that we just went through, this takes less than 2 seconds. Go, blocking. What are the things I have to do? Got to look for a place to put the key. Okay, now where's a place where I can put the key that also gives me all of the benefits of the other elements of the framework, right? The 5 elements of the framework. Let's see, I want to be looking where there's depth. I want to be able to salt and pepper the background. I want to do a whole bunch of other stuff here. Where's the easiest spot for that? And when I say easy, I'm not thinking like, oh, I need a cop out here because I don't want to work that hard. No, it's like some decisions you can never overcome if you screw them up. Doesn't matter how much equipment or gear or crew that you have, you just can't do it. So we come into the location. Now I've already given it away again, but I'm not going to do this the next time we do this series. I'm going to take 4 different pictures of this room, and then you're going to tell me which corner we should be looking in, because I've screwed this, because now I'm already telling you which corner we should be looking in. So the director wants 2 people sitting on sofas, right? We could have the sofa over here. This is a wall over here, by the way. Wall of the room. I could have the sofas over here and the sofas here in this orientation. Like this is the L. Why don't we put the character here and the character here? Like that seems perfectly reasonable. And then the camera can be looking this way, right? At these two, and everybody's laughing. Except there's only one window in this space. And if you like lighting from inside, that's your style. That's not my style. I don't like that look. I like lighting from outside. Why? Because it's less things to screw up to make it look natural. Most of the light normally comes from outside during the day. That's what people are used to seeing. That's what's fun. That's what I like. So I'm going to light from outside. Now, If I have two people that have to look at each other on a sofa, I can set it up two ways. I can have sofa here, and I can have sofa here, right? Person here, person here. Now the problem is, with that wide shot, to get them both in, I'm going to be looking directly at the light source. The other problem is, when you speak to the director, they say, yeah, I want an L configuration of the sofa. It's more intimate. It's better. Fits the story better. I say, okay, let's have an L configuration. Should we do it this way and this way with character here and character here? No. No, that's a terrible solution. Why? Because I know I'm going to light from the window. And if I know I'm going to light from the window and all of this level is coming this way and I'm on this side of the line, it's front lit. Front lit, not good. Okay? Avoid front light. So that only leaves when we have to have a sofa here. So you've either got this option over here or you got the other option. I'm going to choose the other option. Okay? So sofa here, sofa here. What we're going to do is we're going to have, you guessed it, shears, and we're probably going to keep these curtains, and we're going to light from the outside. We're going to light the people on the sofa, number one. I know I need a key light for the people on the sofa. So for this frame, we don't even see this guy's face in this frame, right? So we're only really looking at one side of the conversation. Makes it even easier. So I know I'm going to make him look nice. And we know that I always will shout out to my boy, Andre Sofhob, one of the greatest cinematographers to ever do it. He would definitely be on the Mount Rushmore of cinematographers because he invented the Sofhob, which is, I'm going to light from that window. Let's say that the window is over here. Actually, let's get a little bit closer so you can experience the glory that is the Sofhob. Oop. I'm going to light from that window. I'm going to look into just a little corner of the room. See how it's kind of flat in this storyboard? I don't really want it flat because even though we're going to be shooting, what are we shooting on? We're shooting on the mini LF and we're shooting on tribes. So you can get pretty shallow. I mean, very shallow, full frame, T2 or whatever they are. It's going to be super shallow. But being super shallow, even though we can have color contrast, I mean, light contrast in the background, like light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, it just flattens it off too much. I want a little bit of depth, all right? I probably want to be maybe not wide open because I want a little bit of depth, or maybe I'll be on a slightly wider lens than I would normally do it. So we can see some of the background. So I'm going to want to shoot into the corner. So I'm going to take this orientation of the sofa as it's drawn and maybe just rotate it, right? Maybe rotate it 10, 20 degrees. So now we're looking into the corner. And then I'm going to take the key light from outside. I'm going to blast it through here. I'm going to put a frame on top of the key light so that it softens the stuff on his face and it goes hard on the body. Now, hopefully, if you've been watching any of these videos, you'll notice that I constantly do this. Why do I constantly do it? Because it looks nicer. I like it better like that. It looks like the most epic time. Like, I guess the way that I think about a job as a cinematographer in the commercial space, right? We're not telling some story. We're trying to make it look cool and interesting and still have fun while we're doing the job. I want to make this space, which is technically, let's go here. I want to make this location, like, I want to make it look the best, like the best 5 minutes, the most magical 5 minutes that this room would ever look like. You know, maybe there's like at one time during the year, the sun is low enough in the sky and the angle is just so that it's just over here and it just blasts through. And maybe it stays like that for, 5 minutes out of the entire year. That's what I want, right? I want that magical 5 minutes, but I'm going to create it for 4 hours or however long we have to shoot for that. That's what I'm thinking is the job. I mean, you can already see over here. See how there's this little pocket of light here, right there. And then it's dark here, right? Like that's a couple of stops difference. And that's what I was going to say about the Sofhob. You see, if I'm doing this all the time, if you're doing the Sofhob all the time, you learn to just speak in stops. I can just speak in stops of light. Like I know that I probably don't want the Sofhob 3 stops brighter than up here. Okay, I don't want that. That's not going to look good. I don't like those ratios. And those ratios come from, you can, which is what I advocate for, just sitting down for a day and figuring out the ratios that you like to everything. Like, what do you like if this is our key light on this side? What ratios do you like between the key side and the fill side? If you don't know those numbers, you still have work to do. And if you've seen the past videos, you're still not fluent in Mandarin if you don't know those numbers, right? You're not fluent in cinematography. That doesn't mean you can't speak it, right? You might be able to order noodles at a restaurant. That doesn't mean you're fluent in cinematography. And what we're trying to do is get fluent in cinematography because that's the job. That's why you're along for the ride. Someone has to be the translator. It's you. If you have a dog shit translator and you're in a foreign country, is that going to be an optimal experience or is it going to be subpar? It's going to be subpar. You don't want to be a subpar translator. Okay. So just that's how over time you get to know stops. And then, well, you're thinking, Patrick, well, why would that be of any benefit to know the stops? Because then you can tell the team around you. You say, I want soft hop. I want down here, make it a stopover. This, I want some nice, soft, rappy light that's going to come around. I'm going to neg this entire side. I'm going to want a prac in the background, which we're going to use as an excuse to get an edge light here. And then I'm going to want some light on him as well, but not as much as what's on him. So let's just have a net ready. So we'll net this down or flag it off. And then I probably want another prac over there in the corner or something. That's it. That's how long this conversation actually takes on the tech scout. And then the rest of the time. Now, you're saying, okay, well, you're not specifying, like, let's get the M90 out or let's get the 18K or the whatever it is. No, not if I've worked with the people before. If I've worked with the people before, I've determined that they're good at their job, or else I would find someone else that I would have wanted to work with. And if I'm working with people for the first time, I might take one extra step in this process and say, what do you think? What would you put out there? And then they say, ooh, you know, it'd be good if we got like a little aperture 120D with one of those lenses on it. And I go, oh, I've made a mistake here. I say that mentally. I say that in my mind. I don't say that out loud. I say, okay, good. I like what you're thinking. Think bigger. Think bigger. And they go, okay, let's get a little M18. And you go, think bigger. And they go, like an M40? Like, we're going to have to get a generator for that. And you go, now you're thinking, like, yeah, I want it to look like this all the time. I want to get rid of all the variables. It's like, could you do it with an aperture 120D? Maybe if you got in this location for that magic 5 minutes that this looks like that. But I want to be able to overcome every problem. And what's going to be like a classic problem is it looks too moody, or there's not enough level, or whatever it is. Worst thing that can possibly happen is you get this all set up and they say, it's not enough level. And you're already wide open and you've already cut your NDs. And you're like, oh, now we need to put up new things. And putting up new things takes lots of time. Don't let lots of time kill you. Just anticipate these problems. So we got the configuration. We got the angle, right? Instead of looking straight at this wall, I'm going to look a little bit like the frame will probably be like this, right? So a little bit of the window, a little bit of the dark background, maybe a prac in here, or we bring in a table behind them. And then I don't want this sofa right on the wall, right? I want to pull the sofa out like this and like this. So we have depth behind it. Depth gives me room to put other things in. And when I say gives me room, you're giving the gaffer a halfway decent chance to be able to make this look nice. That's it. That's the tech scout process for this scene. And what about, you say, Patrick, what about the close-ups? Because we've got a guy on a sofa over here. He's looking the exact opposite way of the key light. What are we going to do for him? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the sun wrap. So the same thing that we would do outside, right? We want key light behind him. It's going to magically bounce off of some material inside of the room, right? Like the white wall, or we're just making it up. And it's going to bounce right into his eyes. And he's going to get two beautiful eye lights as a tear rolls down his face. And this is going to be all dark. And then we're also going to put in like a little edge light for him here. And this, we're not looking directly into the window, right? We're going to cheat him up a little bit so that now we're looking into the curtain. And we're looking into maybe like a sliver of the window. And then over here, we're looking into that dark part of the room, which is here, right? So maybe the sofa is here in the wide shot. And then we just shuffle the sofa back. Why? Because we can. All right, we're in make-believe land. Let's do it together, you and I. Okay? And then for this dude's close-up, it's pretty simple. This dude's close-up, that's the key, right? We don't have to worry about that. We've already negged this side. We've already got our prac here that's going to give him a little edge light. We're laughing. Throw a little bit of haze in here, and we've got all of these shots. So this is, if you were going to then schedule it out, we're going to do this shot. And then it makes sense to shoot out all this angle. And then we're going to rotate to this shot, which is the same as that. which gets us that, right? This is a lens change. Then you can start to time these things out the more that you do it. Okay, and that's going to do it. We've got our look. We're going to look at one more of these in the future, and then we will be done with the preparation phase, right? Then it'll be about going on set and actually shooting this thing. So let's see if I have any idea what I'm talking about. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. Many thanks. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.